Brett Bray with the Sphaere, and I'm here today with Nick Blackman, a very old friend of mine here. Very interesting guy. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of start talking to him now. Nick, how you doing today?
Doing well.
Good, very good, very good. So one of the reasons we want to talk to you is because, like I said, we've been friends for a long time, but you run a company called Wazoo.
Yes.
Now, I've always loved that, and one of the things I'm kind of upset is you don't have your Wazombie with you because I love that little Wazombie thing. We'll see that one later on.
We retired those.
No, you surely have your own still.
Oh, yeah. I've got my own personal ones.
He was always.
I made every single one of those, and I think we cut it off somewhere over 1,000 of them that we had sold.
Maybe you could bring it back as a people who buy excessive amounts, so you can use this as a memorial thing, going on.
Yeah,
here. All right,
special members only.
tell us about Wazoo.
Wazoo makes everyday gear with wild capability. So products that you might already have or wear on yourself every day, we just add more functionality to it. So we have hats and belts with hidden pockets in them. So you can store small items. We make kits specifically designed to fit inside, or you can carry whatever just day-to-day necessities like hair ties or Band-Aids or something that you might need as a parent. We make necklaces that are not only decorative like this one here, but it's also capable of starting fires. So it's a ceramic pendant with a ferro rod. So in an emergency, it doubles as a fire starter. And then we've got another one as well. Sorry, I'm probably bumping the mic there. This one is a whetstone with a bunch of different facets on it for sharpening pretty much any tool you own. Scissors, shovels, axes, knives, fish hooks, anything you need to sharpen this little tiny stone is capable of it. And these are all quarried and manufactured in the U.S.
That's cool. Could you like on the backside embed a Ferris rod? So now you've got.
Actually, yeah. So this fire starter is called the Spark.
Uh-huh.
This is called the Viking Whetstone, and we do make a hybrid model that combines the two. We call it the Viking Spark.
I'm behind the curve on that one, yeah. Oh, very cool. So about how many products do you have in total?
I think we've got somewhere in the order of like 60 SKUs, but primarily we have our 3 necklaces, the hats, the belts, and the kits are the primaries. We also have the bandanas that tie in there. So I don't know if they'll be able to see this on camera.
Give it a shot.
But we've got one for animal tracking. It's got 21 different animals commonly found in North America. Yeah, little tracks. There's a whole bunch more detail that goes into it. Any of our items I could talk for hours about, but we worked with the artist that has done some of the most detailed prints ever published.
Is that a platypus?
It looks like it. Doesn't see a platypus. It's a beaver.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's fun things to go out and do. Everything we have has hidden agendas, hidden meanings, whatever. This one, our logo in the middle, if you fold it up and wear it on the back of your head, it doubles as eye spots, which in India and other places where they have large cats, they will put masks or eye spots on the back of their head because large cats like to attack from behind. So it's actually a means of protection if you start finding mountain lion prints.
Okay. Righty.
And then
that's pretty cool.
The other one that we have is our foraging bandana. This one's the most popular. We even make a version of this that we call the bandanette that has a no-see mosquito mesh on the back, so you can use it for harvesting. You can throw it over your head to protect from mosquitoes. But this is some beautifully done illustrations. We've got 12 plants commonly found around North America, and a little decoder in the middle here shows you what each symbol means. And a lot of times I like to start with the dandelion because everybody knows a dandelion.
Right.
You can see the flowers have this symbol. That means you can eat them raw. The stem has the cook symbol and a medicinal symbol. So it means when you cook them, they have medicinal properties. We don't tell you what those properties are, but this is intended to be a little knowledge seed or a field reference guide while you're out to just refresh your memory and encourage you to go learn more and do some more research. So
that's pretty cool. Merriweather, friend Merriweather. Yep. What's this company called?
He has Foraging Texas and Medicine Man Plant Company.
Really, really cool. I mean, I kind of follow his stuff on Facebook and stuff. Did he help you out with this at all?
Yes. Yeah. So he was a very integral part in helping select the plants and identify the medicinal properties. We also work with Nicole Appelian from the Alone series. She was an integral part of it as well. So they're both credited on here in the text and in the design. But yeah, Merriweather's got a great resource online if you're ever interested in wild edibles and learning more. It's a free resource, foragingtexas.com. Tons and tons and tons of useful information.
Well, that's pretty cool there. I have all kinds of, I live kind of in a wild area, I guess you'd call it, and stuff. And I've been slowly categorizing each of the plants here during the springtime stuff. I need to get me one of those right there. Yeah, I definitely need to pop online and get.
Well,
What's the name of the website?
Our website is wazoogear.com.
Wazoogear.com. Okay, cool.
And we've had a lot of customers ask, are these available in, Europe? Do you have a European version or a Canadian version or whatever? And my business partner, Dustin, travels to Europe once a year to do a guided trip for some high school students. And last time he was there, he kind of set out to see how many he could find. I think he found 8 of the 12 just on his few weeks that he was there in Europe.
Impressive.
So it is almost a global resource, but we designed it for North America. It works elsewhere.
Oh, very, very good there. How long has Wazoo been in effect?
I quit my job as an engineer in 2012 and started doing Wazoo full time. And then it was right at the end of 2012, Dustin, my now business partner, reached out to me, and he was doing a similar thing. We started with paracord bracelets with survival kits hidden inside of them. We don't do bracelets anymore, but that's where we got our start. And he and I met up with a beer and tried to see what was going on. I had created a website and a brand and started it through Facebook, but it turns out he had a better product than me. So we kind of nested his product under my brand, and we merged it all into Wazoo and just kind of started together to create a small business as opposed to starting with competition and, creating turmoil right out of the gate.
That's good collaboration there. So how long from between the time you quit your engineering job and you were able to breathe again and were like not hyperventilating, like going, what have I done?
That's the humor in all of it, right? The humor in small business. There's never really a point you get to breathe. It is, yeah. So I, as a calculated, logical individual, didn't quit until I was comfortable with the revenue that was coming in to achieve at least sustenance.
Right.
So the speed bump comes in where I immediately, or not immediately, within 6 months of quitting and starting my business, brought in a business partner that had potentially entirely different mindsets and goals, and now an additional paycheck that had to be covered right out of the gate. So, it went from where I could scale organically and comfortably to now a whole different tumultuous nature of ideas and concepts and where we take things. So it's been fun. We've probably grown it farther and in a different direction than I could have done myself. But he's the gas pedal, I'm the brakes, and we gotta balance each other out.
Yeah, don't want to just drive over the cliff, but you got to get moving forward anyway. All right,
exactly.
Makes sense. Well, that is absolutely fantastic. So wazoogear.com.
Yep.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to that. Now, I know that you had mentioned a little while ago about there's a spin-off or something about a fireside chat type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of related to it, I think, or something.
Yeah. So we, as small business owners, it's kind of a lonely world in a sense. The pains that you're going through, and you learn early on that you're either an owner or a customer, or you're an owner or an employee, and there are very distinct mindset differences between it. Some people aren't cut out to be owners. Some people aren't cut out to be employees. I think I fall in the latter category. Now, after running a business, I don't think I could ever go back and work for somebody else. But we found out there's an event in Georgia called Georgia Bushcraft. We've been going there, I think, since 2017, and kind of in its earlier days. They do a spring event and a fall event. The fall is the bigger primary, but through going there, he brings in vendors. We show up as vendors. We set up a booth. We sell stuff. We talk to the people that come to attend. We take classes. There's skills instructors. There's survival experts, whatever it is. You can always learn something new. And so we went there for our own personal development, and that we enjoyed having fun there. And if we set up a booth, we could write it off as a business expense. So it was a way of us kind of getting to do the fun things that we enjoy through business. And it continued. It ended up, we met with a lot of the other vendors there, realized how much in common all the small businesses had, and around the campfire at night was some of the best discussions that we ever had. It was the support of small business community. It was other people in your same industry. There was just so much that we could talk about that you can't necessarily talk about with other people. So that started as just us going to this event yearly. And what ended up happening is we realized how beneficial it was to all of us. So we created it into more of a digital community.
Okay. So you still have the brick and mortar or stick and pine cone or whatever. And for us, the digital side, y'all are still meeting out and stuff. Are
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
online?
So, it's called the Campfire Co-op is the name that we came up with. It's all
Campfire Co-op.
volunteer organization, but it is all like-minded small businesses, content creators, anybody in the outdoor industry, essentially.
Any media associated with it? Web pages, Facebook pages?
We've got, yes, campfireco-op.com. We'll get you to a website with more information. And still, to your question, we host 2 in-person events each year.
Good.
We have one called the Business Summit, which is intended for the small business owners to get some in-depth information, bring in some experts in SEO or marketing or various aspects of business and really hunker down within our industry. What are the things that are working? What's not? What are the troubles we're having? How do we problem solve as a group so that we can all improve? The other event we do is called Demo Days, where we take all of our products, go out in the field with a bunch of social media influencers, content creators, survival experts. We just give them as much gear as they want. They get to play with it all weekend long. They stress test it. They report back to us what's good, what's bad. They get to create content for themselves, so they can create a year's worth of content if they
One
put the
weekend.
effort into it. Yeah.
So if I were wanting to go out there and just do the as a creator, I guess you call it, when is that at?
So the demo days is typically in May. We had to postpone it this year because of growing pains. So the event was all volunteer operated. We're trying to bring on a paid manager for the group. And to do that, we had to set up a kind of membership portal and get some paid memberships so that we can kind of streamline and grow and expand what we're doing. So that happened this year. We now have a manager in place. So the next event that will be coming up is the Business Summit in November. It tags right up against the Georgia Bushcraft event in Georgia. And then Demo Days 2026 will probably be in May. And we're starting to toy with the idea. We got a friend with some property in Colorado, so we may kind of bounce back and forth between Georgia and Colorado for the location, just to see if we can bring in some more people.
Well, definitely keep me informed on that one, because I would definitely probably enjoy going out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you have a little bit of advantage on me because Wazoo isn't just a business for you; it's more of a lifestyle. I know you've gone on all kinds of trips. You've told me all about them and stuff. There, you take the family. You have a wife, 2 kids.
Yep.
Yeah, they love your family, man. That's fantastic there. So you going out on these trips and stuff. Tell us about a typical trip for you.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it's nice that the benefits of the small business outside of the stress and the anxiety is you kind of set your own schedule. So, yeah, right now with the kids not quite in school yet, Cora's going to start preschool soon, or sorry, kindergarten. So I'll be at the mercy of the school calendar, which I'm not looking forward to. But typically, we've got a little camper now that we've got kids. So we take the camper and we hit the road, and usually it's like a week to 2 weeks, and we travel around. We've done national parks before. A lot of times we'll loop it into something like one of these events that I'm going to. The last one got a little crazy because my wife is big in the dog training world for search and rescue stuff, and it ended up that the fall Georgia Bushcraft event fell right on top of her first chance to teach a seminar as a primary instructor in California. So we did a multi-week road trip to see family, to go to her sister's wedding, to drop her off at the airport so I could go spend a week in the woods in Georgia. And I had the 3 dogs and 2 girls with me for that whole endeavor.
Wow. And that's for relaxation there. I'm sure you were like totally relaxed the entire time.
Yeah.
No freaking out.
What do you call it? Type 2 fun?
Yeah. You gotta love that there. No, I know the what type of vehicle is that? A Jeep?
Forerunner.
Yep. I know you've decked that thing all out. You've got the tent thing you used to have. Is that still a part of it? Good. Yeah.
Yep.
You get it all set up so when you go camping, you're in luxury there. It looks like.
Yeah, we've got a little awning on the side, and a lot of that came from the SAR side, the search and rescue, and and the outdoors just in general. So quick little run out awning. So if it's rainy, you got a dry place to hang out. And yeah, if I'm just going by myself, I'll often camp in that. If I'm going with the family, we get everything together and take the trailer and get campsites and whatnot. So it depends on what's going on. And then as far as other trips and things, Dustin and I enjoy being out there and doing the thing, which for us is putting our gear to the test and really seeing if we can count on it, what happens, how to use it in a pinch. So we did a 4-day survival class in the Utah desert with a fantastic guy named Dave Holliday. He's a huge influence in the industry. It's kind of the early primitive skills revival back in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, just salt of the earth kind of guy. We did a 4-day desert class with him with no tools, no shelter, no nothing. The only thing we took with us was water filters, and that was just for liability on their insurance stuff. So yeah, that was real fun. We had to catch fish with our bare hands and go through and build fires by rubbing sticks together. And
That's awesome.
so you learn the hard ways to do things, so you appreciate the easy ways.
Which brings me to things. You had made or purchased this map of the United States with the black squares and visited each state. You ripped it off to reveal the state and stuff.
Yep.
I haven't looked at it, recently. How much of it's been ripped off at this point?
Well, I've made one for each vehicle. They're all different. I don't know, maybe a third to a half of the map, depending which one. But yeah, I made one for the 4Runner, one for our Subaru, and I put one on our camper trailer. So yeah, as we travel places, we pull it off. That's another one of those I need to get out there on the market.
You don't
another job.
Need to have that one. People, especially, it'd be niche, but those are fantastic, especially for those people with like RVs and stuff when they're traveling around and stuff. So it would be a bragging right for them.
So here's the thing, right? They exist.
Yeah.
And they're a dime a dozen. You can find them all over Amazon and everywhere else. But they're a sticker of the US that you have to have a sticker sheet that you peel off and you put the state on when you're done.
Oh, okay.
So you have to travel around with this sheet of stickers that you hope you don't wrinkle or mess up. I don't do that.
Done.
So yeah, going the other way, I couldn't find one that was like that, so I had to make one.
Oh,
That's how I go through life.
If
I can't find it, I make it.
I know you've probably never really been in real bad danger because you're too smart for that kind of stuff. But have you ever had to use one of your instruments where it's like, I'm just going to use this because I've lost something and I just want to go ahead and get it done? I mean, have you ever had any?
Yeah. So, and this is a shift that we've made over the past few years. We started the business in Seabrook and we moved it to Longmont, Colorado because we were struggling to find employees. People didn't understand the outdoors. And we started off as a survival company, and now we're more of like just an everyday tool and resource company because it's not a tool it is a tool that can be used in survival. It's a tool that can be trusted. And so that's kind of the durability and proof. But more often than not, 90% of the time, what you're using is to solve smaller everyday problems. Right. So we've had places where we'd be out eating and the sun starts to set and it's just blinding us. And so I can take, I had a towel in the car. It was actually a little mini tarp, like a Silnai tarp. And I used some cordage out of my belt and we strung it up and hung a tarp. And we got applauded at a restaurant because people were like, "Oh my God, yeah, that's awesome." I was like, okay, I just wanted some shade. Like, I didn't think it was that great. But yeah, you end up finding these ways to MacGyver things. And it's not like trying to be obnoxious or trying to be weird. It's just using what you have at your disposal to make things a little more convenient. And whether it be Band-Aids and hair ties, like more often than not, I pull those out and got something for the kids if we need it.
Yeah. And my dogs still have the collars that you made for them with the reflector and the paracord and stuff. I love those things.
Yeah.
Very, very nice on those. Very durable.
Extremely durable. Yeah.
Extremely durable. There it is. There. All right. So, out of all your products, what's your favorite one? The one that you're like the most proud of?
I mean, the one that I wear and use the most is the belt. It's got the hidden pocket in it. It's got a toolkit that fits inside. We designed everything to fit together, and it's essentially the equivalent of a 72-hour survival kit without shelter material. But the fact that I have that with me every day and on me, I have cordage, I have duct tape, I have zip ties, I have like all the basic stuff that I could ever need.
Ham sandwich.
That went bad a while ago. So yeah, I mean, if I wear a pair of like athletic shorts that don't have a belt loop, I feel naked, and I'll end up just putting my belt on anyway, just on top of the pants, even though it doesn't do anything.
I remember when that came out. It was actually pretty cool. You did that off a GoFundMe, was it, or is that the one you did?
Kickstarter, yeah.
Kickstarter, yeah. There we go.
Yeah, that was our first Kickstarter that we ever did. And then we were, I think, 2 years late on delivery because of just growing pains and learning curves, and we almost lost the business in that one because it was, I think, the third batch of custom designed belt buckles that finally was up to spec. But it was the whole get a sample in, approve the sample, give the thumbs up for production, and then you get 3,000 to 5,000 buckles that are not what you approved. Oh, the quality is different. The coating is different. The something is messed up. It flakes off, whatever it is. It's like, hey, we tested and we tried and we approved this. You sent us this. And it was just months and months and months. And we ended up having to go through different factories. It was a nightmare. And when it finally came down to it, what we ended up having to do is go to another local small business. There's Cerakoters over on kind of the west side of Houston. And they really saved our butts during that one because they took the damaged buckles that we got in that essentially the metal was dinged and scratched, and then they coated over it. And the coating was so thin you could see all the dings and scratches. And so they were able to put each one in the machine, blast off the coating, and kind of sandblast it down to a more matte finish, and then recoat it with Cerakote. Oh. And it came out exactly how we wanted it in the first place. But we had to pay, dollars and dollars more per buckle. Correct. Just to get it done. And we had already collected the money from Kickstarter, and we've just churned it through this cycle of trying to complete the project. So yeah, it was lots of stuff learned there. But we had over $250,000 raised on the campaign for the belt. And yeah, it was our huge like boost into the community, and seeing all the patience. And when people got the belt after the 2 years, when the comments come in saying totally worth the wait, I didn't expect. Yeah.
So he does a search and rescue, SARS, Alpha Search and Rescue. Is a fantastic, goes out, finds people lost. You want to hear their dogs barking if you're lost in the woods. It's fantastic, but it's kind of a family.
Yeah, I'd love to have her talk about it. Yeah. She's the team president, so it'd be much more fitting for her to run through it. And as my business starts consuming more of my time and the kids and everything else, she's taken the lead on that a lot more than me. I'm more of the backseat support on the search and rescue side.
Yeah. So you have done a very good job as far as I've seen. I don't see behind the scenes, but your work-life balance seems to be better than most. I guess working from home kind of helps that out a bit.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about how all of this has been affecting your life.
Man, again, learning, right? It's it's always a struggle. It's always a tough balance, and I still don't think I'm where I want to be with it. But I think working from home has massive benefits in that regard, because I'm able to pause what I'm doing or juggle laundry while working or something. Some of those tasks that just consume time and take up time. But
talk with your friends on the surprise
on Wednesdays, yeah. Any of that. But yeah, it's my wife and I have always enjoyed cooking. That was one of the things we did together long before kids. We always enjoyed cooking meals together, and we still make time to cook a lot. Almost every night of the week, we're going to cook something unless it's absolutely inconvenient and we have other things going on. We might order food or something from DoorDash, but more often than not, we're cooking pastas, steaks, pork loins on the grill, whatever it is. We just enjoy that. So we're trying to also introduce our kids to that. So that's one of the things that we make sure we carve out time for, to make that what it used to be. And if I have to sacrifice time on the work side of things, I can figure that out and get some hours in on the weekend or whatever to get my tasks done. But it's in the business world, I don't know if you want to use this or not. My biggest thing is efficiency. As an ex-engineer, whatever, engineer at heart, however you want to look at it. Efficiency has always been my core value and driving motivator. And with that, we structured our company to be more objective based. So if you're achieving your objectives and your tasks, I don't have to expect you to be sitting in a chair from X time to Y time. Like I don't like that idea that you are expected to waste a certain amount of time regardless.
Yeah.
And nobody can be efficient 100% of the time. So if you can encourage people to be more efficient in the time they are there, they have the reward of then being able to take more time off. And so it's been fun owning a business in that sense and balancing that with employees. But as long as your employees are respectful of it and understand what they have, it's worked really well to be able to kind of break that mold in a way.
Oh, very good. Very good. As an employee myself from time to time, I appreciate it when the boss is like, go do this and leave me alone. Let me do it. I will get it done. So I do appreciate that. There we go. All right. So, got to ask you another question here about Wazoo. Okay. New products coming down the pipe. Anything fun?
Yeah.
All right. So hear it first, or have you already put it out?
Well, I don't know when this will go out. It's probably outside of our direct community first, maybe. The foraging bandana has been so popular. We're going to be doing a mushroom version. So all sorts of different mushrooms, again, in a super clean line art. Dustin has been spearheading that one, and he's just gone down the mushroom rabbit hole. And I don't know how many foraging mushroom books he's purchased.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. It'll be fun.
That is fascinating. I want one of those, but B, that's going to be terrifying, considering how many look-alike mushrooms and everything else out there.
And it's not. It may not be specifically for foraging. It might just be for kind of rough identification, or again, like this, if you find a lion's mane, here's some of the properties of it and things you can do with it. Turkey tail, some of the others, chaga, I think, is on there, which you can make teas out of. And some of those, we try to pick ones that are much more distinguishable. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's always just a field reference refresher. It's not going to be your end-all be-all source for information.
Are you going to make them geographic specific, or are you just going to have general?
No, again, it's going to be like this in the idea that, in the sense that we want it to be used broadly across North America. So you might be in a region that doesn't have some of the things. We may put morels on there because morels are super popular, but they're hard to find in certain regions. So it's one of those that's very iconic. And I think a lot of people end up buying this as much for the beauty as they do for the function. So it's one of those that as long as we make it beautiful and we make it speak to people and they get excited to own it, that's the biggest part of it, because then they're going to use it. They're going to learn more. They're going to go outdoors and they're going to enjoy the time.
Very good. Very good. All right. So personal stuff here. All right. So you did engineering in the past. Where did you go to school?
I went to school at West Virginia University. I got degrees in mechanical and aerospace engineering. They had a dual degree program, so you heavy load for 4.5 years and come out with 2 degrees.
Oh, nice.
And I figured, why not? So I was pretty decent in high school, so I thought I could handle it, and did. So ended up with 2 engineering degrees.
Very nice there. And you did what with it?
Nothing.
No. Well, you had a job. You said you quit their engineering job.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
so I met a girl in school and married her eventually. So right out of school, it was 2008 when we graduated. Housing crash and crisis and all that, and a lot of companies had kind of pulled back on hiring. So I struggled to find a job right out of school, and she had a job offer because she had done internships with Boeing in Houston during college. So they offered her a job right out of the gate. So I started poking around. I was like, well, let me see if I can find something in Houston, and maybe I'll follow her down there. And talked with United Space Alliance, and they did a shotgun interview, which was crazy. I'd never experienced anything like that. But they flew me in. They sat me at a table with like, I don't know, 10 to 12 other people. And it was just whatever department wanted to ask me questions was asking me questions. They made me do a PowerPoint presentation of something ahead of time. So I brought that in, I presented, and then it was just rapid fire questions, everything from thermodynamics to structural and anything in between. And so I just did my best to juggle it. And coming out of that, I think I had 3 different job offers and got to kind of take my pick. So I went with astronaut training. So it was a 2-year certification process, and I was training the astronauts how to use the data processing systems and navigation systems on board the space shuttle. And about 2 years into it, they decided they were canceling the space shuttle program. And of course, if you have up and coming newbies in the program, first ones to cut out because you're not going to get certified. So the closest I got was I got to apprentice with one of the STS crews under another instructor, but still super cool.
Did you ever actually get to go inside the shuttle at any point?
Not the real shuttle, no, but I spent a lot of my time in the simulators. So the motion base and the fixed base simulators. That was where we taught all of our classes. So
did they let you fly it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We have some secret stories and things that like you don't do in the motion base, but it was always a challenge for the instructors that you can start. I think it was a 200,000 foot entry, so the landing program, and you try and barrel roll it first and see if you can still make it to the runway.
Success rate was what?
Very slim.
I'm sure they're recording it the whole time and showing the astronauts, see, you don't do this.
Yeah, no, it was a cool Sphaere.
Yep.
Yeah, no, they called it the flying brick, I think, was what the shuttle known as.
That's what I know. Yeah.
And yeah, it was so they designed the re-entry to come in, and you had to do this big maneuver at the end to burn off any excess energy. So we tried to burn off the energy up here and see if we could still make it.
Okay, well, kind of there's no extra room at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Very, very good there. All right, so family. What kind of family? Were you,
how much family?
Yeah.
Yeah. So married the girl I followed down here. We've been together this year. We'll make our 15-year wedding anniversary. 19 years together.
Great.
And we've got 2 girls, and yeah, the 5 and 3.
5 and 3.
Yeah.
2 gorgeous little girls. Yeah.
Yeah. Super, super smart. We try and treat them like little people and talk to them and answer whatever questions they have. Do our best to maintain that work-life balance.
And the 4-legged children, how many?
We're down to 3 now. We had to put Havoc down. So we've got 2 yak terriers, German hunting terriers, and Drax is the older of the 2. I think he's 6 or 7 now. And he's dual certified in cadaver and trailing. And then Riot is up and coming, and she's just focusing on trailing for now.
Looking back at a younger Nick Blackman, you have all this drive to go out and just enjoy nature and stuff. Where did that come from?
Oh, that's a good one. So growing up in West Virginia, I just essentially lived. Well, not lived. I mean, some people live in the outdoors. I grew up in a small town in the mountains. The town population is 240 people. It was super remote and rural. It was a 45-minute drive to a Walmart, and it was an hour-long bus ride for me to get to high school. Because we had the second largest county in the state, and they only had a single high school for the whole county. So some people had a longer bus ride than I did, but mine was right about an hour. So outdoors was our thing. My parents all work in the Forest Service. So actually, my parents divorced when I was young, and they both remarried into other Forest Service employees. So 4 parents that all worked in the Forest Service. So the woods was in my blood.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so we camping, fishing, hunting, all of that. Definitely a huge part of my upbringing. And then moving to Houston feels a little draining.
A little flat and barren. Yeah.
Yeah. And the only parks that we had around here with woods have been demolished for drainage, which doesn't make sense to me, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's why we got into the search and rescue side of things. There's a reason to be outdoors and not just because we like saunas and sweating.
Cool. All right. Favorite place to camp?
Man, that's a hard one. There's places I want to camp that I haven't. I'll say right now my best memories are from Sam Rayburn. I think Sam Rayburn Reservoir. There's a campground there called Twin Dykes, and they have some campsites kind of up on a hill that overlook this reservoir. So it's a dammed reservoir. There's only like one natural lake in the state of Texas or something silly like that. All the other ones
are dammed reservoirs. All right,
yeah.
I got you.
So there's campsites that overlook the water there, and I just have really good memories of this place because we had Cora, my oldest girl. That was one of her first camping trips, and she insisted that she wanted to go swimming. And this was when we just had a cold front blow through. It was like I think the air temps that day was in the 60s, but for the week prior to that, it had been in the 30s. And so the water was frigid. Like my feet went numb in the first 30 seconds. But she insisted she wanted to go swimming. So we went out there and she just splashed and she sat on a rock and she had the time of her life. And we finally pulled her out when her lips got blue. So said, let's go warm up by the fire.
Good warm up, yeah.
But yeah, it's not a terribly far drive from where we are. So anybody local, check it out. Twin Dykes Campground. It's a good spot. Nice little secluded area.
All right. So try to be diplomatic about this one then. Let's take it the other direction. I don't want to get any particular place in trouble and stuff, but has there ever been a place where you were like, there's no way I'm ever going back there?
So no fault of theirs. I think it was in southern Arkansas on one of our road trips back. I can't remember the name of it. It was something mountain. I just avoid southern Arkansas now, or I will be aware when I go to book a campsite there. We stayed at a campsite that had a campground, not just the site, that had an ant problem.
Oh, okay.
And it was some sort of crazy army ant thing that was like secluded there on this weird little peninsula. But when we first got there, I thought it was weird. I ran into a guy in the shower. I didn't run into the guy in the shower.
I was wondering, it's like, we'll come back to that one here. All right.
I go into the bathroom to brush my teeth. A guy comes out of the shower and he's like, hey man, how are those ants at your site? And I was like, I don't know, I just got here. And he apparently was sleeping in his tent and woke up to being covered by ants. So they got out and they shook all their stuff out. He came in to shower himself off to get all the ants off. They weren't necessarily biting ants, but they just got everywhere.
Yeah. You're sleeping bag and you feel things crawling on you. It doesn't matter.
It made me thankful that we had the little camper and we definitely saw them around, but they came out bad at night. It was the next morning we got up and we had a canopy around our camper. The guy lines that went to the ground, they were coming up the rear guy lines, walking all the way along our canopy, down the front of the camper, across the trailer hitch to eat bugs off the front of the car.
Oh.
And there was just a non-stop chain of them, hundreds of them.
So they were providing a service, okay?
Yeah, we just
car cleaners.
We may have stopped by a car wash and blasted everything off before we came home, so we didn't bring any of them with us.
Yeah, that would have been bad. Yes.
Yeah, they were a nuisance. That was a weird one. Anything that touched the ground, just ants.
All right. Wildlife. Any encounters with wildlife?
Nothing major. No, I recently when I was in Colorado. I saw what I thought was a cliffside with some old like smoke stains. Is what I thought it was. So we hiked up there to check it out and see what it was. Turns out it wasn't smoke stains from Indians. It was just kind of a black water stain dripping, coming down the other way. Yeah. As I got to that little overhang, I was checking it out and started seeing disturbances in the ground about yay big. And I was like, huh, that's concerning. And I followed them a couple more and found a very nice, clean mountain lion print. And then as I saw that, I was like, well, that's not great because I'm like under this overhang in this weird little nook. And then I started to see bird feathers from where it had hung out there and eaten a bird recently. And I was like, okay.
You're on his dinner plate.
I had a buddy with me who was named Ruben. I was like, Ruben, do you have eyes on the top of this? He said, yeah, I got you. And so I was like, is there anything up there? Please keep an eye for movement. Because it was fresh tracks, fresh feathers. And I was essentially just in a little ambush site. So didn't see the mountain lion. Definitely had kind of the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, but that was the most recent one that kind of set me off a little bit.
Oh, fantastic, man.
Our Colorado outing, I warned Dustin going into it. I was like, man, my biggest fear is we're going to come back with 5,000 photos and videos, and then they're just never going to get gone through. And we came back, and I think it's somewhere like 1,900 photos and videos.
I had one time when I was...
these things.
Yep. I had when I was scuba diving, and I was following a trumpet fish, and this trumpet fish stopped, it turned, and it was like pretending like it was a piece of coral. And I probably spent like 20 photos taking this thing right there. And it was only after I got back and started looking at it, there was this giant lobster like right behind. I was right behind him there. And I never even saw it because I'm focusing on this little trumpet fish, you know. And this giant lobster was down there. Okay, gotta look where you're going there. All right. So, Mr. Blackman, my friend, it's good to see you again on this. I'm glad you took the time to talk to us. This is Brett with Sphaere, and we thank you. Remember to go check out wazoogear.com and see what you can find to help you out on your next trip.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Give it